Example 5, we're going to find all real values of x such that f of x equals 0. So first thing is, if f of x equals 0, that means we can substitute that in. So this, on A, we would have 0 equals 21 minus 7x. So let's just solve for x. So I'm going to add this 7x. Gives me 7x equals 21. I'm going to rewrite that here. Divide by the 7. And so we get x equals 3. For B, same thing. We want to find all the real values of x such that f of x equals 0. So let's substitute f of x is 0. Now, how do we solve this when you have an x squared and an x in there in your equation? You can't just move the 8 over. It's not allowed, because then you're going to try to factor them. And the only way you can factor is if you have, it has to be set equal to 0. So on this one we actually can factor, just not that way. So leave it set equal to 0, and remember this right side is just a simple trinomial. So for your simple trinomial, your first terms have to multiply to x squared, so x and x. Your last two terms, when you do your FOIL, those last two have to multiply to 8, and then we read it backwards. They also need to subtract to give you 7. So what two numbers multiply to 8 that when you subtract them, you get 7? Well, if nothing else, write it out. What multiplies to 8? 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. Which of those would subtract to be 7? The 1 and 8. So I always put my bigger number first, because I bring down this first sign. And then I know that when I multiply these two last numbers, I need a negative 8. Well, if I have a positive times what, it's going to give me that negative. It's going to be a negative number, so make that a minus. Now, this is 0 is equal to that. Remember, when two things are being multiplied, you can individually set them equal to 0. So I can set the first one equal to 0, and my second parenthesis equal to 0, and solve. So here I get x is negative 8, and here I get x is positive 1. So there's my two values of x that make that true.